Welcome back to The Chosen Life. I'm your host, The Chosen Lawyer. And they say third time's a charm. For us, I think it's fifth time's a charm. But we are here. We are ready to rock and roll. We are here with the one, the only, Virginia Munden of the Buzz Conference. Virginia, welcome officially to The Chosen Life.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. Thanks for having me. I know we've had a bit of a journey to get to this place, but it's okay. 3's a charm, 4 is even better, and 5, well, we're going to blow it out of the park today. Listen, I want to ask you a question. What
Please.
does the chosen life mean? I want to hear first, before we delve into the Buzz Conference, tell me about the chosen life, the chosen one, because I know you use that consistently throughout all of your marketing, whether it's your law practice, your health and wellness, conversations. Share a little bit.
Well, it's funny. As far as the birth of the Chosen Life podcast, so we've been going now. This is going to be episode 81 or 82, I believe. So
Amazing.
yeah, we're coming up to well over a year of doing this. And the birthing of it was, so I'm a big YouTube guy, love watching YouTube, and watching for years. And Virginia, I have my certain niches of things that I like to watch. You know, I like to watch about cars. I like to watch about sneakers. I like to watch about wellness, meditation. But the thing I found was I started to get a little bored with some of them because it was literally the same conversation week after week in the same genre. And I said to myself,
Sure.
I want to be a little more excited here. Like some weeks I want to listen to this and some weeks I want to listen to that. How are we going to go about it? We were also at a time when this was created that the world maybe wasn't as positive as it should have been, you know? So I found we were just dredged, we're coming out of COVID. There was a little bit of negativity out there. And I said to myself, I really want to spread positivity here. I want to get to the point where people can get excited again, wake up and say, you know what, let's get ready to go, because I felt I wasn't getting as much of that energy as we should. We weren't meeting in person as much, And
Right.
so ultimately I thought to myself, okay, I'm the chosen lawyer or law firm or the chosen lawyers. Ultimately, we are all either living our chosen life or we want to live the chosen life.
Right. We dream about the chosen life, but we don't put things into action to help us get there.
As we should. And what do we ultimately do? We look to people who we look up to and we say, wow, they're living their chosen life. Look at how successful they are. Look at what they put about. I could do this. I should do this. I want to do this. So bringing people on, I started going through the Rolodex, thinking, brainstorming out loud. I thought, this person has an interesting tale. This person has an interesting tale. And when I started bringing the guests, everybody's coming from different walks of life, different ages, genders, religions, cultures, but they all had one thing in common. If you watch a show week after week, you'll notice something. These are people that never gave up. They put their boots on, they got their hands dirty, they went to work, they had a dream, and they either made that dream happen or they are making that dream happen, but they're smiling and they're inspiring. So my hope is people watching the show that when they're seeing these messages and they're seeing it across the board, they're saying, you know what? It doesn't matter how old I am. It doesn't matter what I've done in education wise. If I really believe I can do this, I'm going to find a mentor. I'm going to do research. I'm going to go back to school, whatever it is. And I'm going to find my chosen life. And that's the hope, to inspire people that way. And
I love that.
And I've given you a sneak peek, letting you know that the book is coming out. I've hinted on it in the show.
What's
So
the title of that?
The Bible 3.0.
Oh, that's going to be a good one. Do you talk about mentorship in that particular book?
I do actually. And the idea is, it's not a memoir, it's a lifestyle guidebook. The idea is, so when I evolved my life and, when I was rock bottom and, felt like there was no hope and I pulled myself up, the reason I was able to make all sorts of life changes where it's physical, mental, spiritual, I either went to classes, I had teachers, I had mentors, and I had people that helped guide me along the way. So I do talk about my story throughout a little bit, but the idea is so people can understand their story and how they're going to pull themselves.
Yeah.
And I was going to different sources for different bits of information. Same thing was on YouTube.
Sure.
I wanted to create, I was a little ambitious. I had different topics in mind. And ultimately, with the publisher, I decided we're going to put it all. It's going to be one big gauntlet. Every single thing you think you ever need to do in life, it's your one-stop shop. So as far as how taking care of your body, if things from water, nutrition, yoga, setting yourself life goals, manifestation, you think of it, it's there. So it's
Morning
all
routines to set the day, right?
people often laugh at me. It's funny. People that don't have routines, and I tell them about my typical days, and you probably know that you feel the same thing in your life. And they say, it's so limiting. How do you go about these routines? And I tell them, these routines are my lifelines. I don't have to think about it anymore. The routine is there, things get done. If I leave it to chance, it's not going to happen. I actually Virginia, I just had this conversation yesterday at my favorite shawarma place, Lizette Shawarma in Mississauga. This place is unbelievable. So I'm sitting with the guy who, one of the people who's running it, and he's a really jacked guy, looks great, goes to the gym. He's very disciplined about it, but he's saying, I got to improve my eating. I'm not getting my eating done. I need to get better at it. I said to him, let me ask you a question. So when you go to the gym, do you wake up in the morning and say, maybe I'll go to the gym today? No, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday is your gym at 5 p.m. That's it, right? He goes, exactly. Why can't your eating be the same way? I'm challenging you, go to sleep tonight. I want you to think about how many meals you're going to have, what you're going to have. Think about what hours roughly you're going to have them. Make a game plan. The way you made a game plan for your workouts, make a same game plan for your eating routine. Because otherwise you wake up in the morning, it's like, I'm going to eat today. You're going at random. Lifestyle, routine, lifestyle. These are the lifelines of success in my estimation.
Yeah. And you can't wing routine. You really do have to commit to it. And I find that people who have those systems in place, I know Wayne, my husband, since I've been married to him over 30 years, he's been very religious and consistent with his health and wellness routine. It has not changed over the years. And I find that his health is always, top of the chain, because he's committed to it. And that's what allows him to be a better person, a better father, a better husband, a better friend, a better mentor, confidant. When you have routine, you think differently. That's how I see it. You can't wing life. You can't wing business. You can't wing real estate. You really do need to be consistent from the moment you wake up until the moment you shut your eyes at night. But at the same time, adding some elements of change, some excitement, some new goals or dreams or plans that you want to put into play, just to spice things up a little bit. But definitely routine is something that I strive for. I'm not good at routine for myself personally, but I am good with routine when it comes to the business, we'll say. And I think that's, one of the reasons why we've been able to succeed at Buzz over the years. Having people like yourselves committed to Buzz, people see you all the time. You're there to deliver information and legal advice, etc. So people know that Jonathan Hacohen from Kormans Law, the chosen lawyer, is the one who's going to represent our real estate transaction at best.
And the guests that you bring on to the Buzz, and I've had the opportunity to meet some of them through my podcast, through David and David on real estate, and my partner David Korman, David Gorski, and they bring people on and talk about real estate. I talk about more about lifestyle. And an interesting point I wanted to bring to you was these successes, the routines and the lifestyles, they aren't born out of success. They're usually born out of failure. People trying again and not succeeding. And I would tell you what I think separates the winners from the non-winners is the fact that the winners realize, okay, this is not working for me. I need to tweak. I need to tweak a little more. And then as soon as they get something working, once it's working really, really well, then they mix it up. They never allow themselves to have that comfort level. They don't settle in. They're always tweaking. They're always moving ahead. But people that don't win in life, they try, they fail, they give up. Give up should not be in your vocabulary
And
ever.
yeah, and I try to eliminate that word failure. I try to incorporate the word lesson, right? If we try and it's not working, I don't consider it to be a failure. I consider it to be the next step, right? Every time you try is a step until you finally achieve that end goal. But then at the same time, if you achieve it and it's producing results, what's something else you can do or tweak to even gain better results? Right. And I think that's those are things that we've learned during COVID. And I love that you mentioned some of our speakers and mentors that we've had at the Buzz, and you and other podcast hosts have shared a lot of these speakers and mentors on their podcast. So I want to thank you for consistently elevating their voices and their presence. When you look at some of the top podcasts today, yours, and you've got Matt Campoli and Andrew Perry, you guys are so committed to the great people that we have at Buzz. And I just want to thank you for acknowledging those speakers and mentors on your podcast as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because at the end of the day, this is ultimately about the audience. This is not about
Mhm.
us. And whatever we can do to help bring them the tools to succeed, entertain them, teach them, this is the idea. And when I meet somebody or I get referred to somebody and I have a conversation, I'm thinking, wow, this person blows me away. Like
Mhm.
Elena Saradidis, one of my best
Oh my
friends
gosh,
now.
she's my favorite.
All hails Elena is
Yeah, she's so
amazing.
awesome.
She blows me away every time. This woman's work ethic, personality, she's vivacious. She is the embodiment of what real estate should be in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, North America. And she is the future and she is the now.
She is
And
the future. You're absolutely right. And she's committed, deeply committed to the consumer experience, which is
she's
something that
all
I
about the
feel
consumer.
has
She
has
no
been
no,
eliminated.
she's all
Yeah,
about the consumer experience. There's nothing
very
but the
much
consumer
so.
experience. I
Yes.
applaud her for that. But how did I meet her? I didn't meet her randomly on the street. I didn't meet her through LinkedIn. No, she was at one of my talks at the Buzz conference. And the second the talk was over, I get a DM. It's from Elena. Blown away with what you have to say. Can we please talk?
Oh,
We have one conversation. We
I
need to
love
work
that.
together because she, in her estimation, her clients are going to get the best experience by working with me. She liked how I was talking as a lawyer. She said, let's try it out. We have closed dozens of deals together already, since
I
that
love
time.
that.
It's been a couple of years. And then slowly I introduced her to one of my best friends, Elon Weintraub of Mortgage Outlet. And
Yes. Yeah.
and
Love
now we
him.
have lunches together in our teams. We put a little team together. This is how it grows that way. But what was the connecting point? What was the hub of all this? Buzz Conference.
Yeah, we get that a lot from a lot of people. We do, hear daily from a number of agents and alliances just thanking for the opportunity of being present, sponsoring, speaking, being on a panel at the Buzz, because it has brought a lot of business and opportunities. But as well, I love the fact that you have taken it to the next level and formed these small little hubs where you gather and continue to meet and network in your locations to help either businesses grow. So you've got Elena, you've got yourself representing law, you've got Alon with mortgages, and whoever it may be. You meet somewhere. For those that are committed to building those essential relationships from those they meet at Buzz, it will definitely benefit you tenfold. Absolutely. And that's part of the value proposition that we have at Buzz is don't just take it, attend, listen, and learn and network that day. Choose the top 5, 10 people that you met or that you listened to and that you learned something quite relevant for your business, and take it to the next level. Get on the phone, talk to these people, schedule a meeting, a live meeting where you can have a coffee. I'm not saying an extravagant dinner, but even just a coffee in the community, and share even more on how you can help each other not only grow but improve the consumer experience, because that's really what it's about.
And when you talk and you speak of your ideas, so many ideas start going through my head, and like I want to I'm like 10,000 people in the telephone booth, and we're all trying to get out at the same time. And
Thank you.
A couple of things that immediately come to my mind is, a general and a specific comment. First of all, the dangers of marketing and how people don't have an open mind to the full spectrum of marketing. So,
Right.
case in point, I'm a proud sponsor of the Buzz Conference. I wasn't paid
Yes.
to be on here today. I'm speaking openly because I know the value proposition of it. When you go and you sponsor a Buzz Conference, I saw it from day one. The difference for me, I found for myself as a lawyer and my law firm Kormans LLP was as follows. It wasn't necessarily that I all of a sudden have 10,000 real estate deals the next day. It's
Mm,
as much about retention as it is obtaining new business.
right.
And I can tell you that people that work with me closely, I was getting a lot of DMs. Wow, I see you're connected with Buzz. Oh, I saw an advertisement. Oh, I saw clips of you speaking there. Reaffirming for people where you're at is just as important, if not more important, than new business. And it's not, and I even hate the idea of marketing for business, because if you're doing what you're doing and you're authentic about it and you're building relationships, business will flow from there. I always tell people, don't go looking for business. Don't go looking for the dollar. Go looking for
Right.
relationships. Business
Yes.
will follow you. How do you feel about that,
Absolutely.
Virginia?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. It's been amazing to see from pre-COVID when we had the event at the Mississauga Living Arts Center, and just following people's journeys and looking at the transformation each has created for their personal businesses, whether they're individual agents. I've seen some individual agents grow over the last 3 years with these big teams, and many of them they've met at a Buzz conference. Listen, we can spend a lot of time online. Social media is a fascinating platform for everyone to gather digitally or virtually, but we do have to take those relationships offline into the online, or no, offline into the live space, in order to really get to know people on a personal level. Social media helps amplify our messages, and I have seen so many real estate agents use social media that way, and I've seen their business grow from it. Some of them is, some of the content that is shared is questionable. I mentioned that on another podcast, but I really believe that those that are succeeding right now are the ones that are concentrating on facilitating content and information and facts to the consumer. A lot of real estate agents talk with one another online, and that's great because that helps build the referral businesses. So if they meet at the Buzz conference, it's like, oh, do you have a business card? No, but you know what? Let me key in my Instagram handle or my Facebook handle on your phone, and let's follow each other. So it's not so much as about handing out that business card, but right then and there, if you hook up and you grab the mobile phone and you start following, then you're literally opening yourself to hundreds, if not thousands more people that you can potentially grow with as well.
I can tell you from experience and talking out there, because I'm pounding the pavement. Like, there's very few days that I'm ever in the same place 2 days in a row. And the reason is you need to rub elbows, shake hands, kiss babies, and it's important. It is a different
Mm,
feeling for relationships and for business. One of my first brokerages that I ever worked with, and we have a very strong formation together, is over at Forest Hill Vaughan, Lahav Resnick, over there managing the office. And what makes Forest Hill Vaughan, for example, special versus, I would say, a lot of brokerages, is simply the fact that agents show up. On a given day,
mm,
there's always people in the office. When we have our seminars, the room is full to capacity. People have to stand outside of it. And when I do seminars, a lot of other offices, we're finding that, we're getting in 5 people, 10 people. They're doing it hybrid. People are logged in, but
yeah,
are they really logged in, not logged in? And this is becoming, especially in real estate and then outside of under other industries. I know I'm talking to people in the mortgage industry. You want deals, you want to network, you want to be able to work with your colleagues, you want to share information. There's nothing different than doing it in person. And I'm really worried about this disconnect that you mentioned, and people working outside of the office and not being with their colleagues. I think they're missing out on a really great experience. Like, I can tell you that I'm a better lawyer. I'm definitely much busier. I have a strong connection with my clients and with my referral sources because we are there. And I heavily advise to people, especially if you're a young agent, you're a young realtor starting off in an industry, you're a young accountant, a young lawyer, go into the office. You know, you have a question, you go into your mentor's office, you sit down like the old days. It works a lot better than trying to capture them on Zoom. That's what I feel about it. And I hope that more and more of the younger generation feels that, because I feel like if they're never going to know how to work with people in person, they're going to have a difficult time growing themselves as professionals.
Yeah, I've seen many the next generation, and I am fascinated by their social savviness. I have seen them take their online connections offline, which has been great to see through various events. A lot of them are having mentorship events or events concentrating on specific topics like investing in Florida or investing in pre-construction. You have agents who are hosting meetings or meetups at their offices, and they are sharing, live listing presentations or buyer presentations or content marketing strategies, and they're bringing other real estate agents together. Then you have some agents who are hosting events strictly for the consumer, and they're still going with the buyer seminars or the seller seminars, but they're creating these crazy authentic events with food and cocktails and pop-ups for photo ops that later people can share online. But they are taking those online connections offline, and I hope I said that right earlier.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And they are strengthening those alliances and those partnerships with each other. If we just continue to do our work online, we're going to miss out on a lot of opportunities. I'm betting that 70% of followers are realtors, maybe more, maybe 80% or more. I'm not convinced that realtors have a lot of clients following them right now. So they have to learn how to monetize the power of their current database on their social media platforms, and start adding those local businesses, those past consumers, future new consumers, or relevant people in the community that they want to elevate their personal voices amongst. Because if we're not monetizing our current database of realtors for the purpose of referrals, then really, what are we doing it for?
Virginia, I don't know how you did this, but you psychically were reading my mind.
Oh, okay.
Because I was going to literally tell you, as we're talking about this, I want to share with you, I think, a nice little mentorship 101. This is what I tell young lawyers, but they could do this in any industry. It blows me away when somebody is starting off as a professional and they're saying, okay, I need to spend money on ads. I need to be on buses. Should I do radio? What should I do? I tell them, hold on a minute. Let's stop the horses for a moment.
Right.
I tell them, pull up your phone for me right now. I tell them, I've said this like 1,000 times. Okay, pull up your phone. I want you to scroll down to the end of your contacts. What is the number of contacts in there? They'll tell me it's 500, it's 200, it's 3,000, whatever it is. They say, how much is yours? I think mine's at 7,500. I don't know. It's a little out of control, but that's fine. But I tell them, look, this is how I did it as a young lawyer. I came to Kormans. I'm a partner, junior partner. I spent probably 3-4 months every single day going from A to Z and making sure every single person in my contact database remembers who I am and where the heck I am and what I'm doing for a living. Just a nice little reminder. Some people got a text message, some got a phone call, some got an email, some got 2, some got 3, whatever it is. That was step A. And in between of it, a point that you brought up, I made a point every single week, no matter what religiously, at least one get together. Always somebody, breakfast, lunch, dinner, tea, coffee.
I agree. At least once a week. Yeah, at least once a week.
Always. Then when the contact database is exhausted, 1 hour every day, LinkedIn, I liked it a lot. I found that's a really good one. So people like Facebook, but mining for people, looking through mutual contacts and just reaching out. Sometimes I reach out to the mutual person and said, hey, I noticed that you're friends with so-and-so. I noticed what's a connection? Could you put a word in for me? And it's amazing how that grows. Sometimes I just follow somebody. One of my best realtors, we are now like one of the best friends. We've gone out to dinner like 30 times. How did we start our relationship? I added him on Facebook. I liked every single one of his posts. And every time he sold or bought up property, I tagged time to call the real estate lawyer.
Right.
You know what happened? Friday at 4 p.m., out of nowhere, he never called or anything. He just shows up in my office. I
I
happen to
love
be
that.
there. He's like, "Hey, Johnny, how you doing?" I'm like, "Good." He goes, "I see you like liking my stuff on Facebook. So you seem like a nice guy. Could we sit down for a while?" I'm like,
Oh,
"Sure." And we spoke. We
that's
spent,
that's how it begins, right?
yeah, and we're going out for dinner next week. It so happens, but we became.
That's how it begins. The connection point is online. Now, if that person, if that connection is someone you want to grow your relationship and your business with, you do have to take it to the next level. You do have to meet live. Let's face it, during COVID, during lockdown, we lost that connectivity. And we were strictly communicating online. And when I look at when I started my business, my career in real estate 30 years ago, we only had a pager and a telephone and a bag of quarters. And if we were running late or needed to connect with a client while we're on the road, we had to pull over and, find a payphone booth, right? Now we've got so many different ways to communicate since Web 2.0 came into existence. We, started with email. It went to, the mobile phone. It went to social media. It went to DM, Zoom, Snapchat. There's video conferencing. There's so many ways to communicate right now, and we cannot lose that live one-on-one where we meet with our strategic alliances, realtor referral partners, and the consumer live face-to-face. We were just talking about this yesterday. Once upon a time, we'd have to schedule an appointment with the client. We'd meet with them in their home. And sometimes their reason for selling weren't under good circumstances. Maybe a spouse had passed, a divorce was taking place, children were moving out of the home, loss of jobs, couldn't make mortgage payments. So many reasons why people were moving. And we were confidants at that time. We were confidants, we were good listeners, and before we even toured the home or reviewed a listing presentation and all the expectations of our services, we were listeners and confidants. We took in personal information, and we were vulnerable. We became vulnerable with the consumer. That kind of changed during COVID and during lockdown because everything was done from the palm of our hands, right? We were texting, we were DMing, we were doing digital signatures for listings and offers. Sometimes, like Wayne would say during an offer, he's like, I need to make sure that before the consumer signs a digital offer that we review it together. Well, he would send the digital offer and he'd already get it back with initials and signatures. And it's like, no, resend it again. I need to review that offer with them. Even the consumer was falling into the trap that it became efficient, but in the wrong way, right? Come on, you're a lawyer. It's easy to sign an offer.
That's why, for example, I don't do DocuSign. I make the people meet with me the same way you and I are on this type of a setting, and I
Right.
do with the client. But I review every single page, every single document with them, and then when it's comes time to sign, they're not just stamping the same signature over and over. They have to hand draw it, the hand initial, hand signature. I feel
Right.
better about that. It's the same way I would have done it in person. But I'm not going to send off the law clerk to do it. I feel very strongly from a professional standpoint, the lawyer should always meet with the client to sign the paperwork. And I want to meet with them. I've had clients say to me, send me the papers, I'll sign it, send it back to you. No, no, no. You have to
Yeah.
hear it. You need to know what you're signing. It's really important. So I'm really glad to hear Wayne is doing that. That's spectacular.
Yeah, but it's like I said, it's a difficult thing. And I think now, I think the consumer will start expecting us to meet with them live again, especially with the way the industry is changing. Listen, we just had another rate hike. There's a possible second one coming by the end of the year, maybe another one in the new year in 2024. I personally think there are still great opportunities out there for buyers. We have to become the resource and find them, and we can't do that while we're online. We have to really start working hard and researching for the consumer, and just putting them on autopilot on MLS isn't going to work. We have to meet with them and strategize a plan that is going to help them win in real estate. The consumer needs us now more than ever. They, now that the rate hike, or that the rates went up this, yesterday, agents should be on the phone with all of their buyers from 2021, 2022, asking them how they are, adding that element of compassion and being a good listener, because they may require the services of a mortgage broker or a lawyer to see where they are with these additional mortgage payments each and every month. I feel for the consumer right now. We can't be talking to them online. We need to meet with them live. Scheduling these appointments is going to make realtors come out as heroes in the next 6 months. We need to meet with our clients on live.
And we need to fight a battle as far as, because when they come to us and we need to help inform these consumers, it's not that they're a blank slate. Very oftentimes they've already been polluted because they've listened to the media and they just take it as gospel immediately. And part of my job as a lawyer, when I'm talking with people, they're asking me always, how's the market doing? How's the transactions going? I tell them, I warn them all the time. I said, what you read in the newspaper, what you watch on TV may not be so. Virginia, I can't tell you how many times I've been interviewed either for a TV segment or for a newspaper segment. Sure. But my problem with it is, and I've told them, and then half the time they don't want to even run my material. They've already come to me with the answer. They already come to me, okay, so the market's really bad and you don't have a lot of deals, right? So can you tell me about how you don't have any deals? I'm like, oh, no, let's change back. Ask me how the market is, ask me how I'm doing. And then I tell them what the reality is, and they're like, oh, okay, that's not what my editor said. So this is a problem, because I have the conversation with my mother all the time. She's like, oh, the newspaper is saying this. And I said, Mom, the newspaper's job is to get advertising space.
Say that.
Advertising space. You can't sell advertising unless you sell doom and gloom. If you open up a newspaper every day and it says everything is great, life is fabulous, no one's buying that newspaper. No one's turning on a news segment. That's the way it is. News is the most original reality TV. So all I'm telling people is, yes, I'm not saying it's not completely factual. There's elements depending on what you're reading, but just don't take everything as gospel. The best way to learn about an industry is talk to the people in the industry, the people in the trenches. They know. They're the ones who know. Right.
It's interesting because, as we were just mentioning, there was a rate hike yesterday. The BOC, raised the interest rate by, I think, 0.25. I just cannot believe how many realtors were sharing that rate hike announcement, and some of them misinterpreted the actual data. 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, I remember my broker, Dan Levy, and a lot of people who are listening to this podcast will remember Dan, incredible, out of the Lorne Park Royal LePage office when I was trading. He always made sure that his agents were not interpreting data that was to be facilitated by a lawyer or a mortgage broker. Our role as real estate representatives, as realtors, sales professionals, is to interpret data of our listings, of our clients, property values, quality of life. When it comes to the interest rate, unless we're educated as a mortgage broker or mortgage agent, we have no business, in my opinion, to interpret mortgage data. We can share a little bit, but all the media that was shared yesterday was interpreted by realtors online, and it was doom and gloom. And when the consumer reads and sees this, if they're online, they're questioning our industry, and they're questioning the real estate market right now. 30 years ago, when I bought my first property, although prices were much lower back then, all right, I think our townhouse that we bought was like $150,000. We didn't have social media to look at, to to interpret information. So we never knew if rates were increasing or if they were decreasing. We just knew we wanted a house, we got a house, and our mortgage rate at that time for a $150,000 townhouse was 14.25%. Okay. Now, that same townhouse today is $1 million. And the rate of interest is, let's say, 5%, 6%. So depending on what is required as a down payment, last year when I did the numbers, the monthly payment was the same, because on 150 at 14.25, $1 million, and last year at say 4%, the monthly payment was almost similar, depending on what a buyer will put down. The reason why I share this is, if the industry stops sharing the doom and gloom of a mortgage hike, and is it really a doom and gloom? But that's the way it's being facilitated. If it's shared more as a strategy by the Bank of Canada, by the industry, I think consumers would have more confidence to invest or to move up or size down or buy that second recreational property or invest in Florida real estate. They would consider those options. But what it does when the industry, I'm telling you, I think every single post, every second post yesterday was doom and gloom of this rate hike. We know there's a rate hike. We saw it on the news. Instead of facilitating that, why don't you facilitate the top 10 deals in the city, right? The top pre-construction, units that are available for sale, the top assignments that are on the market right now, the 10 price reductions in a particular neighborhood. That's what should be facilitated online, not the information that should be directed by our mortgage and legal professionals. My advice, my personal opinion, we'll call it.
I love it. Look, I've been in this game myself for over 20 years now, and I've seen, rates come and go, prices come and go. And I tell people at the end of the day, look, the one set of people that always did the worst in real estate are the ones that said, I listened to my neighbor and they said to me, hold off for a year or two. All the people that always held off never did well.
No, people should not wait to buy real estate.
You have to learn that real estate, like stocks, you buy it and you're holding on to it and you're not thinking about the price, and that's it. It's going to fluctuate. That's fine. You get the best deal you can at that moment in time, and then you sit on it. 5 years, 10 years come, and you're saying, oh no, the property value went down and I'm going to sell and I'm going to take a loss. But what I'm going to go buy has also gone down. So I'm actually upgrading myself, and what I'm going from $1 to $2 million price point. My property went down by 10%, but what I'm buying went down by 20%. Fabulous. So actually, you're just still ahead. It's not bad. They always say if you buy and sell in the same market, you're golden. So, oh wow, my property went up by 30%. Guess what? Then what you're going to go buy probably went up by 30%. You're there, So that's kind of things that people kind of forget. But if you have down payment, you're ready to go. You have your life. You want to get married. You want to have a child. You're getting divorced. Whatever it is, at the point you are, you need a place to live at the end of the day. And ultimately, you want a place that's your own. You don't want to rent. You don't want to pay someone's mortgage. So you do the best you can at it, but you always have that satisfaction of having your home. But it ultimately, but on the same token of it is just be smart about it. Go sit with your accountant, your financial planner, and then your mortgage broker and your lawyer.
Right. The financial, right.
You are 21 years old. Let's say a couple. Don't go buy a $2.5 million house. Go get a starter home. Make sure you have buffer amount of money for a rainy day. You need to fix the roof.
Nobody wants a starter home anymore.
I know, but we all want it right now. We all want it right now.
I know, right? With the luxury vehicles attached, right?
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. You're 25 years old. Why are you buying a brand new Audi? I don't understand this. And you still don't even own a house. The people that I know that did really well in real estate and in life, they bought starter homes. They did not drive brand new luxury vehicles at 25 years old, and they saved their money. And then when they were 50, then they did it, but the people that did not do as well kept trading up their luxury cars every 2, 3
Yeah,
years,
you're right.
but didn't do the same in their home. It's prioritization, I think.
Yeah, yeah. I was speaking with someone over the last couple of weeks about a young couple that um, I guess with their new variable, they're on a variable rate and they are not able to, commit to their new monthly mortgage payments. So they had to re-strategize a plan. And they did seek out professional advice from their lawyer, from their realtor, from their mortgage agent or broker, from their financial planner. And it was interesting what they did, because they saved up all this money to buy their dream home, and they bought it at the height of the market, all right, at a variable rate. Now that couple can no longer make those payments. So what happened was they were offered some very clever advice. And, I was curious to learn a little bit more about it. And it's the same thing that my father probably would have told me, because the newcomers, this is their strategy. So what happened was they ended up turning their current property, because they didn't want to sell it. They didn't want to give it back to the bank. They couldn't afford the new monthly payments, so they converted it to a triplex. All right. So they had the upper level rented out, the lower level rented out, and the basement had also they had made a small little investment rental in the basement, but they turned it into a triplex. So they rented out the 3 units in this property in Toronto, and they were making like $6,500 a month. What they did was they took out a portion of the little equity that was left in that home, because remember, they bought it at the height of the market, and they bought a condo, a small condo, the cheapest condo that they can find. And they're going to ride out this market until it's time to either go back into their original property, but they'll still have this condo. They can use that as an investment property. So, and the reason why I'm sharing this is we have to become very strategic, and we have to look for options and solutions to the current situation, as opposed to just giving up. Because trust me, there's a lot of people who are already starting to give keys back to the bank saying, listen, I can't afford it. I remember speaking to a top agent in Mississauga, a property that they had sold to a buyer in the height of a market at 2.7 million. That went under power of sale for like not even 1.8. Okay, so you have to look at options and solutions to keep you afloat for the temporary moment, because this is temporary. Come 2024, 2025, I think we're going to be back in a really hot market. But at the same time, Jonathan, I am still hearing that there are certain markets in the GTA or in Oakville or Niagara region, wherever, even in as far as Cambridge, that are still getting multiple offers, and properties are still selling for over asking price. So we have to continue with being the resource. And the only way we can be the resource is if we constantly educate ourselves through our MLS each and every day, right? We have to become that constant resource to offer those options and solutions.
And that's where I feel a fabulous resource is the Buzz Conference. This
Thank you.
is where I'm going to be all frank with all the listeners right now. When you're going to a Buzz Conference, this is the real talk you get. You don't get the fluff.
Yes.
You get real people with real opinions, professionals that share their insights. And this is where you come to really learn, not by opening up the newspaper, but by being in the trenches with the people. And that's one of the things that attracted me to the Buzz Conference immediately. And that's why you're thriving. And all I see are sellouts, more events, which I'm loving. If we could please share with the listeners some of the most recent conferences that you held. And
so we just had, as you know, the conference in Disruption in March, and that was another sold out event. We just had the Queen Bee in Bloom Summit at Liberty Grand. That was also sold out. And we have another one coming up on September the 21st, which is the Blue Summit. It's the Buzz Leaders under 35. But we do have leaders in our industry who began their careers under 35 and are still, thriving decades later, with really awesome businesses, serving their communities. We've got some, great sponsors so far. We've got some amazing speakers, and we're really looking forward to bringing everybody to the Burlington Convention Center this September 21st between 8 o'clock to 5 p.m. And that will be a big fall kickoff. We look forward to seeing everybody there. Tickets available for sale on Eventbrite.
I love how you strategize as far as, there's a conference for everybody, and you're really encouraging people, to come and feel great in their space with like-minded professionals. Like the Queen Bee is a very popular one. How was that event born? Because that one gets a lot of traction on social media. I know it's a favorite of yours.
Just fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, women have come a long way in our industry. I remember when I started, almost 30 years ago, I was limited to the choices that I had of female-led brokerages. So I ended up choosing a brokerage that was led by a female. But within 6 months, that female ended up leaving and going to the United States. But at the same time, I'm fascinated by our male leaders. I just think for me, I just wanted to have some representation, because real estate back then was primarily dominated by male. And I think right now, as per, NAR, the National Association of Realtors, and CREA, I'm going to say between 55 and 60% of the real estate population are women. And we do see now more and more companies that are led by women. We have, Joyce Perron, who's the CEO of Exit Realty, Karen Yalevsky, the COO of Royal LePage Corporate Brokerage, Deborah Bain, who owns Remax Hallmark, the largest Remax office for all of Remax Canada, Vivian Reese, Michelle Reese, Nikki Saravalli, and there's just so many companies, and Nikki is the co-founder of Revel Realty, and Meg Little, who owns a Nest Realty. We can't forget our independent brokerages, because they are adding tremendous value to our real estate industry here in Canada. And the Queen Bee helps to support those women, and it helps us build networks for referrals, for mentorship, for learning, and just being together and talking about how we create this harmony of success amongst our businesses, our personal and our professional lives. So that's that's something that we do with Queen Bee, and it's always a great event.
Love it. I love it. Honestly, and again, it gets great traction. It gets great feedback from the industry, and you're making a difference in this world. You're helping others, and through the Queen Bee. And I'm very excited about the upcoming as well, the under 35, because I can tell you, working with brokerages, working with realtors, that segment, that under 35,
they're amazing.
They're amazing. But very often when they come into the industry, when I watch them in the first couple of years, it looks like they're just wondering, they're trying to find their way. And then once they get their footing, and then when they find their footing, they explode. It's fabulous. There's the ideas that come from them. And again, they are the future. And it's really great that you're bringing them together through the under 35. It's coming up in September, you said, and highly advised. September 21st, sponsorship, attendance. And we know this, Virginia, from experience. Get those tickets early, because don't wait till the last minute, because you're going to contact Virginia. You're going to contact me. Oh, I see it's sold out. Can you grab me a ticket?
We get that all the time. Or we get people showing up right at 8 o'clock in the morning wanting to buy their ticket. So that's always a difficult, situation. But if I can mention where we're, doing some great work with that particular event with the Burlington Hamilton Real Estate Association, or the Association of Burlington and Hamilton, and they're creating RAB Talks, which is going to be kind of a spin-off of TED Talks. We've got some amazing speakers that are going to be lined up for that particular segment of the day. So I'm very, very excited.
Wow. Cannot wait to attend Virginia Munden Buzz Conference.
Thank you.
You're a spectacular human being, honestly, and you're spreading so much love and goodness in this world. And honestly, so grateful to be your friend and to have you part of our show today. For those listeners, you have questions, you have comments, you'll have the contact information. Reach out to Virginia. She's really accommodating. She loves to assist realtors, loves to assist the community and spreading knowledge and growing. And you're wonderful. You've been a wonderful mentor to me as well. I can tell you that since I've got to know
To
you,
me too, Jonathan.
I've changed my perspectives, and you've really opened up my eyes. And I can tell you all sitting here today, I am a better professional and a better person for having known Virginia and being part of Buzz Conference.
You're gonna make me cry. Listen, that word opportunity is open to each and every one of us. There's a lot of agents who are struggling right now. There's a lot of consumers who are struggling right now. So we have to find that common ground where we can get together and where we can almost humanize our industry. And we love to think that or know that we can do that at the Buzz. There are some spectacular people in our industry, and everyone is here to help you. So reach out to some of our speakers. You'll see them on our Instagram page. Everyone is open to having a conversation to help you be a better entrepreneur in real estate, but also a better human.
If you think you're in real estate and you do not follow Buzz Conference, you are not following on social media. You're not on social media. So follow immediately. Your posts are always positive. You're spreading knowledge and you are spreading awareness of the professionals out there. So you'll meet all sorts of professionals from all walks of life in real estate. You'll see their bios. You'll see their handles. You want to get to know real estate? Follow Buzz Conference. You do spectacular work on social media and from a marketing standpoint. And again, kudos to you. The amount of people in the background working, putting this together. Hats off to them. Virginia, your team, fabulous.
Thank you.
Looking forward to seeing you in September at 21 at the Under 35. And folks, reach out to Virginia anytime, please. And to follow Buzz Conference, Virginia Munden, thank you so much for joining us today on The Chosen Life.
Have a great day.
We'll see you soon.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Bye, Jonathan.